I'm Dorothy Rowe, and the video you're about to watch is a clip from a live webinar. If you enjoy the content of this video, please like and subscribe. I'd love to hear your comments. Thank you. This is for ego. It's a healing for the ego and sense of self. There's expansion of the sense of self through the senses of perception, the gross. I'm going to use the word gross, and I don't mean as in yucky gross. I mean as in physical material gross, like manifest sense of perception. Through these senses of perception, this is a healing also for refined perception. Going into the nervous system and the nodes or cortices specifically associated with the various senses of perception. The devata, there is intelligence in the various areas of the brain. Yesterday I discussed how the devatas are from very, very tiny, all the way subcellular, even molecular and subatomic, all the way up to galactic, and they're like fractalin, like they build on each other, right? They form together to create the larger forms. So we're looking at the devata in the brain that are specifically the size of the cortices associated with the senses of perception, those devata. And what's happening is these devata are finding their common ground. They're anchoring back to the source of creation, and they're also finding their places where the senses of perception a little bit overlap, right? Like smell and taste, right? Did I smell that or did I taste it? There are places where all the senses overlap. There's a space in the mind, in the head, in the brain, in the inferior parietal cortex, where after the information from the sensory cortice have been sorted through the thalamus, they're sent. All that information is sent back to the homunculus, the inferior parietal cortex, and it's brought together to create like a single unified picture of this moment. That system, through that system. Feeling it particularly in the junction between the thalamus and the inferior parietal cortex, right there. So after the thalamus has received information from the sensory cortices and it's sorted it and it's sending it, it's in the process of sending it back. It has to pass over the area where the pineal gland is, where the Ajna chakra, the chakra for awareness. So that information, it passes through that area. And as it passes through that area, the most lovely, slippery, like oily, light medicine is there. This very soft, very, like, it makes things permeable. You know how oil, it kind of like if you put it on your skin, it makes it sort of softer or something like that. It like penetrates this light medicine, this light medicine. This is also soma, because soma feeds the devatas. We make the soma at the physical. That was something else we covered yesterday. You can go back and look at that in more detail. Soma we make at the physical material, but it feeds the devatas down here at the subtle. And the devatas are responsible for how the digestion works. So interestingly, there's some autonomy on the part of the devatas to support healthy digestion in such a way that the soma produced by the physiology is as rich and robust and nourishing as possible, and then it comes back and it's food for the devata level of the intelligence of the physiology. That information is just sitting here in the heart center, and that's being used, and it's actually affecting the autonomic nervous system, which we're going to get to in one of the questions today. Thank you for the questions. Anyway, in the brain area, this upgrade, this flow of soma and ojas, mostly ojas, for the devata of the brain and the devata particularly of the senses of perception, for the senses and the organs. So here is also an upgrade for the organs of perception as well. Eyes, ears, sense of touch, flow, flow, creating flow, better flow, opening channels and meridians, fine, very fine meridians up in the head area that connect the organs of sight and hearing and smell and taste to their appropriate cortices, but also through the whole body flow, because this sense of touch is everywhere. It's like I'm seeing that the sense of touch is like a secondary impulse of intelligence. If you take the array of the five senses, right? Sense of touch sits in the center. Does it? No, it sits here. No, it sits in the center. Sorry, my bad. So the senses are associated with the elements, right? Earth is sense of smell, because we literally take in like little molecules of the environment and it registers as smell. Water, sense of taste, because it's a very watery place inside the mouth. Fire is the sense of sight. Oh, that one's in the middle. I knew it was on this side. And touch is is air, and then sound is space. Sense of hearing is space. Yeah, sorry, I got a little confused, guys. Thank you for bearing with me. It's been a lot, and you'll see as we get into the heavier parts of the healings today that it has been a lot. But anyway, still holding steady, basically. Thank you for your patience. There's an impulse. There's a secondary impulse. Like waves of sound in a meter. You've got one strong one at the beginning of the measure, and then there's like a second one halfway through. And then there's a strong one at the beginning, and then another halfway. And the halfway beat is coming in on this one, the sense of touch, because it spreads out, right? The eyes, nose, mouth, taste, they just stay up here. But then the sense of touch, it goes shoo, like that through the whole body. So that wave of intelligence, as it sort of like flushes through the whole body, it also, oh, I see. So it's interesting that I've never seen this before. Thank you, guys. You always do this. You always open up lights and open up doors to knowledge that I had not seen before. It's so interesting that by having the secondary wave, like I'm thinking in kind of musical terms, right? That if you have bum, 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 it's very set and even. But if you put that little wave a little bit, dun, 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 like that, you get an off-center beat. This is in 5, right? Dun, 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 like that. And it's favoring to the finer elements of creation. It favors to the finer. This is important because as human beings, our job is to integrate the totality, the source of creation energy, with the whole manifest field of creation. We're at the point, we sit at the point up here in this chart, and if we look at, I have other charts that I can pop up, but with words, but the physical material is here. And this is where, remember the one with the spirals? And we orient toward the surface like that. And so at the surface, our job is to be the instrument for the turn of consciousness or awareness, pure consciousness, pure awareness, pure perception, the turn of pure perception into the material field, and then giving it the momentum, or at least in the push in the direction to allow it to come back to wholeness again. Because that's what is like, that process is the function of evolution at a universal level, not just at a human level. But the whole field of the whole creation, and particularly the source of creation itself, is evolving through this process. And we are like this integral part of the evolutionary process. It's very important. How? By penetrating in. And we see in and in and in. And everybody sees how beautiful this is. As we're seeing in, we're looking at the mycelial web of the world. It says intertwined massive mycological networks can communicate information from France to China in just a couple of seconds using electromagnetic impulses. So the Earth also has. And so not only are our nervous systems designed specifically to, like optimally, you could say optimally, to be the instruments of this flow of electromagnetic energy, but the earth is too. I love that you brought that in. Thank you. I think this is like a key component to today's healing. Devatas allow the human brain to think, and Mother Earth's brain is made of connected mycological networks. And the earth is living conscious, yes, being that connects us all into one living, yes, 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 yes. So beautiful, and so important for today's healings. The important thing here is that from a Devic level, there is a restructuring of the bioelectric energy in the actual cells and tissues of your organs of sense. So actually in the ears, in the eyes, in the skin, and inside too, right? Because we feel inside. Sometimes you feel pains on the inside or happy on the inside. Let's hope everyone feels happy on the inside. Taste and smell, all of them. And what is that? And what it is that realization that the balance isn't exactly cutting the measure in half. It's not 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. It's da 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 da. It's da 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 da. It's a very, very organic rhythm. This 5/8. I'm telling you 5/8 basically. Da 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 da. It's like the rhythms are built on these organic ratios and proportion, right? Like the golden ratio, like the golden. That's it. There. In the senses of perception, it's the golden ratio, is that proportion. Is it what, 6:1.31, something like that? I'm just feeling it in the physiology, in the senses of perception, in the cortices of the brain responsible for processing sensory information, and then in the pathways between those cortices through the thalamus, and then from the thalamus back to the homunculus and through the Ajna chakra on the way back. Very activated right now, the Ajna chakra. Very beautiful, very powerful, very interesting that this activation is moving not just through time in like right now, but also into the past, also into the future. And could create, I can just say from experience, it could create some experiences that are new. But don't be afraid, because it's not bad new, it's good new. It's greater capability of the mechanism to handle consciousness.